The night was peaceful, the kind of calm that only deep forests could create. Elias sat near the window of his small wooden cabin, drinking warm tea. His daughters, Mira and Laya, had already gone to bed. The cabin stood far away from towns, far away from noise, and far away from the rest of the world. Elias liked it that way. After losing his wife 3 years ago, silence was the only thing that stayed with him. But tonight, silence didn't stay long. A sudden boom echoed through the trees. The ground shook lightly. Birds flew in panic. Elias stood up so fast that his cup fell from his hand. "What was that?" he whispered. Before he could even think, his daughter's bedroom door opened. Myra's face was pale. Laya clutched her blanket. "Dad, something fell from the sky," Mira said. "We saw a light through the window." Elias grabbed his flashlight. "Stay inside." "I'll check." But Mira grabbed his arm. "No, Dad, we already checked." Elias froze. "What do you mean you checked?" The girls looked at each other, and Laya swallowed hard. "We found someone." Elias's heart dropped. "Someone in the forest." At this hour, Mira nodded, her voice shaking. "She's hurt. She's outside the door." Before Elias could react, a soft sound came from behind him, like a weak breath, like someone trying not to cry. He turned and he saw her. A woman, tall, beautiful, in a strange, unreal way. Her skin glowed faint silver under the moonlight. Her hair, long and almost white, fell over her shoulders. She wore a torn suit made of a material Elias had never seen before, thin, metallic, and glowing faintly at the edges. But what shocked him the most were her eyes. They were bright violet, glowing softly like they held their own light. She tried to stand, but collapsed to her knees. Myra and Laya rushed to hold her. Elias took a step back, stunned. "What? What is she?" The woman looked up at him with desperate eyes. She opened her mouth, struggling to speak. "Please." Her voice was soft, broken, trembling. "Don't let them find me." Then she collapsed completely. Leah gasped. "Dad, she's hurt. She needs help." Elias knelt beside the woman. Her skin was warm, almost too warm, like she had a fever. Strange glowing marks ran along. Her neck and arms, like symbols, burned into her skin. He gently touched her wrist to check her pulse. She flinched, and her skin flashed with light just for a moment. Elias pulled his hand back quickly. "What was that?" Myra whispered, "Dad, we couldn't just leave her in the forest." Elias knew they were right. Hurt or not, human or not, she was alive and scared. But hiding her felt dangerous. Too dangerous. "What happened out there?" he asked. Myra took a deep breath. "We heard the explosion. When we went closer, we found part of a ship." Laya nodded quickly. "Like a pod, small and metal. It was burning. A ship." Elias stared at the woman again. Her silver skin, her glowing veins, her impossible eyes. He couldn't deny it. She wasn't from Earth. He lifted her gently, surprised at how light she was, almost weightless. He placed her on the sofa near the fire. Myra covered her with a blanket. Leah held the woman's hand like she was comforting a lost child. Elias studied her face. She looked peaceful now, but fear was still written in every line. It made his stomach tighten. "Girls," he said quietly, "you shouldn't have brought her here. We don't know anything about her." But Mira shook her head. "We couldn't leave her to die. You wouldn't either." She was right. Elias wasn't heartless. As the girls watched her, Elias took a deep breath and stood. He walked to the window, looking out into the dark woods. The moonlight revealed quiet trees and the faint trail of smoke in the distance. Then he heard it, a metallic sound. A faint click, click, click like metal boots touching soil. Someone or something was moving through the forest. Elias's heart pounded. He turned off the lights. The cabin fell into darkness. Mira and Leah froze. "Dad? What's wrong?" Leah whispered. He raised a finger silently. "Someone's out there," he mouthed. The metallic steps grew louder, closer. He peeked through the curtain. And he saw them, 3 tall figures moving silently between the trees. Their bodies covered in dark armor, their helmets glowing with red lines. They carried long weapons that hummed with energy. Hunters looking for her. Elias's hands shook. He had no idea what these creatures wanted, but the fear in the alien woman's eyes came back to him. "Don't let them find me." He stepped away from the window. The girls stared at him, terrified. "Girls," he whispered, "listen carefully." They leaned in, locked the doors. "Don't make a sound. And no matter what happens, don't open the door." Mira swallowed. "Dad, are they here for her?" Elias nodded slowly. "They're hunting her." The woman on the sofa stirred weakly, whispering something in her strange, glowing language. Outside, the metallic steps stopped directly in front of the cabin door. Elias's breath caught in his throat. Something heavy knocked once. Thud, and a voice spoke from the dark. "We know she's inside. Bring us the royal defector, and we will spare your world." The girls gasped. Elias felt cold fear crawl down his spine. His quiet life was over, and everything had changed. The moment his daughters brought home the woman with silver skin, Elias froze where he stood, staring at the wooden door that separated his small family from 3 armored beings outside. Myra and Leah clung to each other. The alien woman on the sofa breathed weakly, unaware of the danger. Another, slow, heavy knock echoed, thud dot. The same cold voice followed. "Human family, do not test us. Surrender the royal defector." Elias silently motioned his daughters to move behind the kitchen counter. His mind raced. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a fighter. He was just a father who wanted to keep his daughters alive. He whispered, "Stay low. Don't move." Mira nodded, her face pale but brave. Leah covered her mouth to stop a cry. Elias stepped closer to the door. He didn't open it, but he raised his voice enough for them to hear. "What do you want? Who are you?" A moment of silence. Then the leader spoke again. "We are the Ralvek hunters. We track royal blood. The one you shelter carries it. Royal blood." Elias looked at the alien woman lying unconscious. Her silver skin glowed faintly in the dim firelight. Royal? She hadn't looked like a queen when she collapsed into their arms. She looked scared, alone, hunted. The voice continued. "She escaped her duty. She broke our laws. Her life belongs to the Empire. Give her to us." Elias swallowed. "Is she dangerous?" "Yes," one of the hunters growled. Another added coldly, "More dangerous alive than dead. More dangerous alive." Elias didn't like that one bit. A sudden beeping sound came from outside, some kind of scanner activating. The door glowed faintly around the edges. They were checking for life signs. Elias's heart hammered. He whispered through clenched teeth, "Stay down. Don't breathe too loud." The hunter's footsteps moved around the cabin, slow and heavy. They were circling the house, scanning every window, every crack, every corner. Leah whispered, trembling, "Dad, will they come in?" Elias placed a protective hand over her head. "Not while I'm standing here." But his words felt thin, weak. He knew these creatures could break down the door if they wanted. Suddenly, the alien woman on the sofa gasped and sat up sharply. Her violet eyes glowed bright. Mira rushed to her. Hey, stay down. You're hurt." But the woman grabbed Mira's arm with surprising strength. Her voice was soft but urgent. "Where are they?" Elias stepped closer. "Right outside." She closed her eyes and breathed shakily. "They will not stop until they take me. They follow my energy." Elias didn't understand. "Why are they calling you Royal Defector? Who are you?" Her lips trembled. She looked fragile and fierce at the same time. "My name is Araya. I am of the Vetheri royal line. Or I was." Her voice cracked. "I ran away." Mira whispered, "Why? What did they want?" Araya's eyes filled with pain. "A forced union. A war bond. They wanted me to join with a violent clan leader to start a new rule. I refused." Elias understood better now. She wasn't a criminal. She was a refugee outside. The hunters suddenly stopped moving. The scanner beeped louder. They were locking onto Araya's energy. Araya held her glowing hands against her chest. Her breathing was fast. "They can sense me. They always sense me." Elias clenched his jaw. "Then we need to hide you." "You can't," Araya said. "They are trained for this. They smell royal energy like smoke." Laia peeked from behind the counter. "Then we're all in danger, Dad." Araya looked at Elias with desperate, pleading eyes. "You should give me to them," she whispered. "Save your daughters." Mira shook her head immediately. "No, we're not letting them take you." Elias felt the same. Something in Araya's fear hit him deeply, maybe. Because he had seen that same fear in his daughters after their mother died. He whispered, "We protect people here. We don't hand them over." Araya's eyes softened. "You are." Strange for a human. Before he could answer, boom. The hunters slammed something heavy against the door. The whole cabin shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mira screamed quietly. Laia covered her ears. Elias grabbed the nearest heavy Tula fireplace poker. Another strike. The wooden door cracked. Araya's violet eyes glowed brighter. "They are coming in," she whispered, "and they will kill anyone who stands between us." Elias stepped in front of his daughters. "They'll have to go through me first." Outside, the hunters charged their weapons. A bright red glow filled the cracks of the breaking door. Araya whispered one final warning. "Elias, once they enter, there is no turning back." The door exploded inward. The hunters stepped through the smoke. Their leader pointed a glowing blade at Elias's chest, and he said the words that froze the entire cabin. "Human, the bond has already begun. She has chosen one of you." The cabin filled with smoke and red light as the hunters broke through the door. Elias pulled Mira and Laia behind him. His hands shook, but he stood firm. He didn't have armor or weapons, or special strength, just the protective fire that came from being a father. The lead hunter stepped forward. His armor was dark like burnt metal, his helmet glowing with sharp red lines. The energy blade in his hand hummed, almost alive. "Human," the hunter growled. "Move aside. The royal defector is ours." Elias didn't move. He didn't know how he would stop them. But he knew one thing. He wasn't letting them take her. Behind him, Araya slowly pushed herself up on the sofa. Her breathing was fast, but her eyes, those glowing violet eyes, were full of something new. Not fear. Not weakness, determination. The hunter raised his weapon higher, but Araya suddenly whispered. Her voice soft but clear. "Elias." The weapon froze mid-air. Elias turned slowly. "How do you know my name?" Araya blinked. Her glow softened. "I felt it." The hunter stiffened. The leader snarled. "She has already formed a link with the human." Elias's heart skipped. "A link with me? What does that even mean?" Araya touched her chest weakly. When I was unconscious, I reached for life. For help. My energy connected to yours. I didn't control it, Leah whispered, trembling. Dad. Did she bond with you? The hunter slammed his blade into the floor, sending sparks across the wooden boards. This is forbidden. A Vetheri royal cannot bond with a primitive human. Primitive. Elias almost laughed. Hey, watch your language. Raya looked at him with guilt and fear. I didn't mean to. But without a bond, I'd die on this planet. My body collapses. I had no choice. The hunters hissed. One of them pointed a device at Araya. It beeped aggressively. Her bond energy is incomplete. Kill the human, and she dies too. Mira gasped. Dad? Elias tensed. That's your plan. Kill me so she collapses. The leader stepped closer. A royal must bond with someone of her own kind. She cannot bond with you. Our law will not allow it, Araya whispered. It doesn't matter anymore. The bond has started. You cannot break it. The hunter aimed his weapon. Araya stood on shaky legs, forcing herself between Elias and the blade. Her hands glowed. Touch him, she said, her voice trembling, and I will release all my power, even half-healed. I can destroy this entire forest. Elias stared at her. This weak, trembling woman. This woman, who looked like she could barely stand, was threatening to destroy everything around them to protect him. The hunters backed up a step, not in fear, but in respect. Royal Araya, the leader said, you defy the throne. Araya's glow brightened. The throne does not own me. The hunter pressed a button on his wrist. A hologram appeared, showing Araya standing in front of a massive golden palace, wearing a crown, surrounded by soldiers. Araya's eyes filled with pain. Stop. The hologram shifted, showing Araya chained, surrounded by armored men. A glowing collar around her neck. Your escape, the hunter growled, sparked conflict between two clans. Without your bond union, a war begins, Elias whispered. So that's why they want you? Araya nodded, breath shaking. Yes, my marriage was meant to stop a war. But the man they wanted me to join with, he was cruel. I ran. Laya looked at her with wide eyes. You were scared. Araya swallowed, terrified. The hunter moved again. Elias stepped in front of Araya this time. No one touches her. The hunter's blade hummed louder. You cannot protect her. You are one human. We are Ralvak hunters. Step aside. Araya suddenly grabbed Elias's arm. Her touch sent a warm pulse through him, a glow that rushed through his body like a heartbeat of light. Elias gasped. What was that? Araya whispered, the bond. Strengthening. Atea, the hunters roared. Stop the link. Separate them. She will complete the bond. Araya held Elias's arm tighter. Elias, I need you. Without the bond, I die. Elias felt something inside him shift. A new strength. A new heat. A connection. He looked into her violet eyes. You're not dying? The hunters charged forward. Araya raised her glowing hand, and Elias stepped beside her ready to fight. Even if he didn't fully understand how asterisk the moment the hunters charged. The air inside the cabin crackled like lightning. Elias pulled Araya behind him, even though he understood how useless that move was. These weren't men, these were armored predators from the stars, trained to kill without hesitation. Yet Elias stood there anyway. The lead hunter raised his weapon, glowing red and humming sharply. Human, you stand in the path of royal duty. Move or die. Elias didn't move. If you want her, you'll have to go through me. Mira, hiding behind the overturned table, gasped. Laya clutched her sister's hand tightly. Araya stared at Elias, stunned. Why would you do that? You barely know me. Elias didn't look at her. His eyes were locked on the hunters. Because you're in danger, and you didn't ask to be hunted. The hunters lunged forward, but before they could reach him, Araya stepped forward and pressed her hand to Elias's chest. A soft, bright pulse of violet light burst from her palm. Elias's breath caught. The hunters froze mid-step. Nitrogen monoxide. The leader roared. She's beginning the final bond. Araya's voice was tense, almost breaking, yet full of strength. If I complete it, I become tied to this human. Your empire cannot claim me then. The glow around her hand grew brighter, spreading across Elias's body like warm light flowing through his chest. Shoulders and arms. Elias gasped. The sensation wasn't painful, it was like feeling someone else's heartbeat inside him. Araya trembled. Elias, stay still, please. What's happening to me? He whispered. The bond, she said softly. I choose you. The words hit him harder than the light. She chose him. Him, a lonely carpenter in the middle of nowhere. The hunters scrambled backward. Their armor flashed warning signals. This is forbidden. One shouted, she must bond with royal blood, not a human. Another hissed. Araya ignored them. She focused only on Elias. Her voice was fragile. I know you didn't ask for this. But if I don't bond with someone, I won't survive this planet. And if I bond with them, she nodded at the hunters, I will live as a prisoner. Elias tried to speak, but her glowing hand kept him still, like a gentle force pressed against his heart. Myra whispered from behind the table, Dad, she's choosing you. Laya whispered, even quieter, save her dad. Please, Araya swallowed hard. Your daughters, they are brave. Elias met her eyes. So what happens if you bond to me? Araya hesitated. You will feel some of my thoughts, some of my emotions. Your body will become stronger, faster, connected to mine. But if you die, I die too. Elias blinked. So if I help you, I put myself in danger. Yes, and if I don't, you die here. Tonight? Araya nodded once. Yes. It was a simple choice, a dangerous choice, but Elias had always been the kind of man who helped others before thinking of himself. It was why his daughters trusted him so deeply. It was why the hunters underestimated him. He took a breath. Do it. Araya's eyes widened. Elias, are you sure? This is life-binding. I'm sure, he said quietly. No one deserves to be hunted. Her violet eyes softened, almost turning silver. She placed her other hand on his chest, the glow double-rising in a wave that filled the entire room. The hunters roared in frustration. She is completing the bond. Stop her. Break the link. They surged forward. Araya's glow intensified so fast that it forced them back with a shockwave. The cabin walls rattled. The windows trembled. The floorboards shook under their feet. Elias felt warmth, calmness, and a strange sadness flow through Hamara's emotions, mixing with his. He whispered, I can feel you. Araya nodded with a trembling smile. Only a little. The full bond will finish in minutes. The lead hunter slammed his fist against his armor. You cannot bond with a human. The Empire will kill you both. Araya stepped in front of Elias, glowing like a burning star. Then let them come, she said. I will not be owned. The hunters roared and prepared to attack again. Their weapons glowed brighter, gathering deadly energy. Araya whispered urgently, Elias, I need to complete the bond. If they hit me before it finishes, it breaks, and I die. Elias stepped forward, placing himself between her and the hunters. You finish it, he said. I'll hold them off as long as I can. Araya's breath caught. But you'll die. Elias lifted a broken table leg like a weapon. Not before you bond. The hunters charged. Araya pressed her hands to her heart and Elias's back, and the bond burst into its final stage, flooding the room with blinding violet light. The cabin shook as bright violet light burst from Araya's hands. Elias felt energy rush through him like fire and lightning mixed together. It didn't hurt. It felt powerful, alive. Like his body finally woke, up after years of silence. But there was no time to understand it. The hunters charged. The lead hunter swung his glowing blade straight at Elias's chest. Before Elias could even think, his body moved on its own faster than he ever moved before. He ducked, grabbed Myra's fallen wooden chair, and blocked the blade. The impact sent sparks flying. Elias stared at the broken chair in his hand, shocked. Hi, did I just do that? Araya cried out, yes. The bond gives you part of my strength. But be careful, your body is still human. Another hunter jumped at them. Elias grabbed Mira and Leah, pulling them back. He kicked the cabin door shut, but the hunters burst through it like it was paper. Dad? Leah screamed. Elias pushed his daughters behind the kitchen counter. Stay down. Don't move. The hunters fired a blast of red energy. It slammed into the wall inches above Myra's head, burning a deep hole. Araya stumbled, holding her chest. The bond light flickered around her. They're trying to break the bond before it completes, she warned. Elias grabbed a metal rod from the fireplace. How long does it take? Minutes, she gasped. But they will attack harder. They cannot let a human carry royal energy. The lead hunter roared and charged again. Elias swung the metal rod. It clashed with the alien blade, sending a tremor up his arm, but he didn't drop it. That surprised the hunter. You should not be this strong. The hunter growled. It's called protecting my family. Elias shot back. The hunter thrust again. Elias blocked, turning sideways. Moving with speed he didn't understand. Araya raised a hand, sending a pulse of violet energy. It slammed into the hunter's armor, but she was weak, and the blast only pushed him back a few steps. Her knees buckled. Elias caught her before she fell. Hey, don't you dare die on me. Araya looked at him with glowing, tear-filled eyes. I'm trying, but their weapons disrupt my energy. I need time. Outside the cabin, the forest lit up with red lights. More hunters were approaching. Myra peeked from behind the counter. Dad, there are more coming. Leah whispered, shaking. We're surrounded. Elias's chest tightened. His home, his safe place, was turning into a battlefield. But he wasn't the same helpless man he was 2 hours ago. He stood up, gripping the metal rod like a sword. Araya, he said. Voice steady. Tell me what to do. She touched his hand, sending another pulse of warmth through him. Your speed and strength will rise, she whispered. Use them. I will protect the girls from long-range attacks. You hold off anyone who comes close. Elias nodded. He didn't understand everything, but he understood enough. He had to keep her alive, no matter what. The second hunter leaped over the couch, swinging a blade at Araya. Elias reacted instantly. He spun and slammed the metal rod into the hunter's arm. The armor cracked. The hunter hissed. Impossible. Elias grinned. Get used to disappointment. Before the hunter recovered, Elias punched him in the chest. The blow sent the armored alien crashing into the wall. Myra's mouth dropped. Dad. Elias blinked at his own fist. Okay. That's new. Araya smiled weakly. You're adapting faster than I expected. The lead hunter snarled and pulled a small disc from his belt. If we cannot kill the human, we will stun the royal. He threw the disc. It emitted a pulse of blue electricity that hit Araya directly. She collapsed with a scream, the bond light flickering violently. Araya. Elias caught her as she fell. Her eyes were dim. They nearly broke the connection. The hunters aimed their weapons again. Finish it. End the bond. Destroy the royal. Elias gently laid Araya down, stood up, and turned toward the hunters, rage burning through him. You're not touching her again. He rushed forward with speed that shocked even him. He rammed into the nearest hunter, knocking him through a wooden beam. Another tried to strike him, but Elias caught the blade with the metal rod, twisted, and broke the weapon clean in half. The hunters were skilled fast. Trained, but Elias fought with something stronger. Reason he was protecting someone who had no one, protecting the daughters who depended on him, protecting a woman who trusted him with her life. Araya, barely conscious, watched him fight, watched the soft human father become something fierce, unstoppable. The entire cabin shook as Elias slammed the lead hunter into the floor. The hunter groaned, armor dented. You, human. The hunter gasped. You fight like bonded royalty. Elias lifted the metal rod again. Araya's voice whispered weakly. Elias. Stop. He froze. She reached out a trembling hand. Come to me. The bond is almost done. Elias ran back to her side. Her hand touched his chest again. A final burst of violet light filled the room brighter than ever before. The hunters shielded their eyes. Araya whispered, the bond is complete. And everything changed. The cabin glowed with soft violet light as the bond sealed fully. Elias felt a warm pulse run through his chest, like a second heartbeat gently settling inside him. The hunters stumbled back, blinded for a moment. Araya lay on the floor, breathing slowly, her silver skin dimming from dangerous brightness to a soft glow. Elias held her hand, feeling a strange connection, like her emotions were brushing lightly against his own. He felt her fear. He felt her loneliness. He felt the weight of something huge, something she had never told anyone on Earth. Her eyes opened weakly. It's done. Elias, you and I are connected. Elias swallowed. I can feel things, memories, but they're blurry. Raya nodded. Because I do not want to overload you. You're human. Your mind can only hold small pieces at first. The lead hunter slowly stood up, his armor cracked, his breathing harsh. His red helmet lights flickered. You fool, Araya. You bonded with a human. The throne will execute you for this. Araya didn't look at him. She just stared at Elias. You must know the truth now, she whispered. You deserve that much. Myra and Laya crawled closer, wide-eyed but brave. The younger girl took Araya's hand like comforting a wounded bird. It's okay, Laya whispered softly. You can tell us. Araya took a weak breath. I was born royal. Not by choice. My family rules a vast empire, many planets, many species. Peace is fragile in our world, always waiting to break. She closed her eyes, and Elias felt a sudden flash in his mind of a shining palace. Tall silver towers, crowds bowing. Araya continued, voice gentle but shaking. A marriage was arranged for me, a bond union. Not for love, but to stop a war between two powerful clans. Mira frowned, like a forced marriage. Araya nodded. Yes, but worse. Because my energy, my bond controls the balance between clans. Whoever I bond with becomes stronger, gains influence. They wanted me to bond with a cruel man, a future warlord. Elias felt a cold wave of anger rise inside him, sirs, mixed with his own. Araya's voice cracked. He would have ruled through fear, through pain, and I did not want my energy to become a weapon. The hunter spat on the ground. You were born to lead the empire. Your power is not yours to choose. Araya glared at him with sudden strength. I am not a tool. I am not a weapon. Another flash hit Elias's mind. Araya chained in a dark room. Soldiers forcing a glowing collar on her. Panic. Pain. A scream. Elias's chest tightened. They imprisoned you. Araya looked at him, tears in her violet eyes. Yes, my escape was not bravery. It was desperation. Lia whispered, You ran away. Araya smiled sadly. I did, and when I ran, the hunters followed. They do not stop. They never stop. The lead hunter barked. Your escape started a conflict across 3 star systems. Clans are preparing war. Your marriage was the peace treaty. Araya's face hardened. Peace built on my suffering is not peace. Elias felt her pain as if it were his own. How she trembled when she fled her home. How she hid on cargo ships. How she crashed on Earth, alone, afraid. Hunted, she looked at Elias again. When your daughters found me, I was close to death. My energy was fading. I reached for anything alive. And I felt your heart. Elias blinked. That's why you said my name. Araya nodded. Your mind. Your memories. Your love for your daughters. It guided me. I felt safe near you. Myra whispered, But you don't even know us. Araya touched her chest. I felt enough. He was lonely, but kind. He had pain, but also hope. And you too. You loved without fear. I had never felt that before. Leah hugged Araya's arms softly. We like you. You're nice. Araya smiled through tears. I have never been nice before. Only royal. Only useful. The lead hunter raised his damaged blade again. This world will burn if she stays here. The Empire will send more armies. They will not allow a human to hold royal power. Elias stood up, stepping in front of Araya. They can try. Araya grabbed his wrist. He felt another flash, this time of her future fears. If she stayed bonded to him, Earth could become a target. Armies might come. The Empire could demand her return. Elias, she whispered, her voice trembling, you don't understand. The Empire will not accept our bond. They will come with more ships, more hunters, more danger. Elias knelt beside her and cupped her cheek gently. I don't care what comes. You're not going back there. Tears filled her eyes. No one has ever protected me? Mira whispered, Your family now. Lia nodded. Yes, and family stays. Araya covered her mouth as tears fell not from fear, but from something she hadn't felt in years, belonging but outside. The sky flashed red. More ships were arriving, and this time they were not hunters. They were warships. The cabin window glowed red as something massive descended through the clouds. Myra and Lia crawled closer to Elias, terrified. Outside, the earth trembled. The hunters lowered their heads, not in fear, but in recognition. That is no patrol ship, the lead hunter muttered. That is a war carrier. The forest shook again. A giant shadow covered the cabin, stretching across the trees like a floating mountain. Araya's breath hitched. She had seen this ship only once in her life, and she had sworn never to see it again. Elias stepped forward. What is that thing? Araya's voice trembled. It is the throne ship, my family's vessel. Mira gasped. Your family sent it. Araya shook her head slowly. No. Only one person uses that ship. A cold chill filled the cabin. Elias felt her fear through the bond. Who? He asked quietly. Araya's fingers curled into the floorboard. The man they wanted me to bond with. The future warlord. The one the clans chose. The lead hunter knelt. Lord Keller. Araya's eyes filled with dread. He must have tracked my bond energy. He knows I joined with someone else. Leah swallowed. So, he's here for you. Araya shook her head. No, he's here for you. The RR of the sky split open as a giant beam of white light shot down from the war carrier, hitting the forest clearing like a spotlight. The wind roared, pulling leaves and dust into the air. A tall figure stepped out of the beam. At first, Elias saw only darkness, a long black cape, heavy armor, and two glowing lines across a helmet shaped like a predator's face. Then the helmet folded back, revealing a man with sharp silver features, glowing scars on his jaw, and eyes burning like blue fire. Lord Keller. He looked at Araya with calm disgust. You bonded with a human. His voice echoed like thunder. Araya forced herself to stand, even though her legs trembled. I made my choice. Keller stepped forward slowly, confidently. Your choice threatens our empire. Your bond must be undone. Elias stepped between them. You're not touching her. Keller looked at him with cold amusement. Human, you misunderstand. The bond is not a story of love. It is a political chain. And you are a mistake. Cleus tightened his fists. She's not a chain. Keller's eyes narrowed. Then let me show you how her people see her. He raised a hand. The ground cracked. Sparks of blue energy burst around Araya, tightening around her like glowing ropes. She cried out and fell to her knees. Elias rushed to her, but the bond shocked him back, sending him skidding across the floor. Mira screamed, "Dad!" Keller spoke calmly. This is the imbalance you created. A royal cannot bond with someone who cannot control the energy. Araya gasped. Stop please, Keller. He ignored her. A human cannot hold royal power. It is unnatural. Elias forced himself to stand, despite the pain. She's not your property. Keller's gaze sharpened. Then why do you speak like you own her? Elias froze. Araya looked up at him, tears in her glowing violet eyes. Keller spread his arms. You humans always hide your fear behind fake courage. But she deserves better than this quiet life. She deserves a throne. Araya whispered, I don't want a throne. Keller leaned close. You think the Empire cares what you want? Elias stepped forward again. Enough. She stays with us. Keller tilted his head. Very well. Let the bond decide. The test of the bond. Keller raised his hand, releasing a pulse of energy. The room shook. Araya screamed as the bond stretched, twisting painfully. Elias felt it too, like his heart was being pulled apart. Keller spoke coldly. If the bond is weak, it will break. You will collapse. And Araya will return to her duty. Elias gritted his teeth. It's not weak. Keller's voice deepened. Then prove it. Another pulse hit. Elias fell to one knee. His vision blurred. Araya cried out, Stop. You're hurting us both. Keller glared at her. Then reject him. Break the bond yourself. Araya looked at Elias, the man who protected her, fought for her, and stood beside her even when she tried to push him away. Her voice broke. I can't. Keller stepped back in shock. You can't. Araya reached for Elias, because he is the first person who ever treated me like a person, not a weapon. Elias grabbed her hand. The bond glowed violently, brighter than ever. Keller's eyes widened. Impossible. The bond pulsed again, forcing him back several steps. Araya stood weakly, leaning on Elias. We choose each other. Mira and Laia stood behind them, holding each other tightly. Elias lifted his head. Leave our world. Keller stared at the glowing bond, disbelief turning into anger. Then into something else, respect. You may have won this night, human, he said, quietly. But the Empire will not accept this union. More will come. Araya held Elias tighter. Let them come. Keller stepped into the beam of light. Then prepare your planet. The light vanished. The ship rose. The forest went silent. The ending and the Begianonian Jiraiya leaned against Elias, exhausted. You risked everything. For me, Elias smiled softly. Your family now. Mira and Laya wrapped their arms around Araya. For the first time in her life, Araya felt safe. Not because of power. Not because of royalty, but because she finally had a home. Yet above the clouds, a message spread through alien space. The royal has bonded with a human. War or peace, the future was coming, and this family would face it together.